Hello YouTube, it is Monday, December 20th, 2:21 p.m. and I'm just realized I'm down to 10 days to try to get one, if not two, of my small storages emptied, so I need to kind of focus on that. I just got done with a session with my job developer, Adam. Applied to several jobs, but one that I'm particularly excited about, and I will talk about that soon, but not yet. So I don't know how many. I know not many people watched the last video that I did about Randolph Drive, and I included a link in the description to my earlier video. I'm sorry, Randolph Road. I looked it up. It is Randolph Road, and I did include a link to my first video about Randolph Road, which is sort of when I first started doing this vlog. It was, I forget the vlog number, but it was pretty low. And am I obsessed about this road? Yeah, kind of I am. I've long had this fascination with city planning, urban planning, road planning, and in particular how development occurs around already existing development, and to be even more focused in how a rural road and some already existing rural stuff adapts as a city approaches it and encompasses it as it sprawls. And Randolph Road is an absolute prime example of that. Like, I haven't found any maps that show like what was here, say, 100 years ago-ish, but based on what I know, I would say 100 years ago, I would be standing in the middle of a country road. They would have an occasional Model T going down it, but probably more pedestrians and horses, and that would be Randolph Road. And I would be looking, as I am, looking northwest, and yeah, I'd be standing in the middle of the road, and these two giant roads that I have here, McDowell Road and 24th Street, probably didn't even exist then. Or if they did, again, they were probably dirt agricultural rural roads, because the major street system of Phoenix is built on the USGS map that has a property divider every mile, and divides the entire country, at least the west half of the country, into square miles. And in rural areas, particularly farming communities, which is what this was before it was a city, because of all the canals and stuff here, it's that's where the dirt county roads were, the farm roads were along a lot of them along these borders. But then there were roads that went at an angle, which Randolph Road was, and it appears that Randolph Road also had a canal that ran along it, and apparently that canal still exists. It's just largely underground, which is why when you walk along where Randolph Road was, you'll see a lot of the SRP boxes, that have where you can actually listen and hear the water underneath, or there'll be valves and stuff. So, and the reason I say, yeah, right here, I'd be standing on it. So I noticed when I did my video the other day, and it was after I'd already ended my video, that as I came to wait at this bus stop, and then decided I didn't want to wait at that bus stop because there was an abundance of homeless people there and somebody making their campsite with blankets and stuff, I decided to just keep walking that way to the next bus stop. And as I got here, I noticed the peculiar angle of this pawn shop and the peculiar angle and location of these power lines and this wall here. And it was like, whoa, there it is. There's the Randolph Road alignment. And I'm not going to go any farther than this gate, because obviously this is, well, maybe a little bit farther. It looks like it's open to the public for parking. As you can see, and it's hard to tell, was Randolph Road north of this wall? Was it south of this wall? It's hard to say, but here you can see there's a wall, and there's a utility easement. There's utility poles that go along what at one time was a road. and obviously the road has been eliminated a long time ago. But as I said, you go through this part of town where Randolph Road was, and there's a lot of evidence of where it was. If anybody's paying attention to the security cameras at Pond First, they're probably wondering what the hell is up with me, and they are armed. But anyway, it was kind of funny. Like I was still thinking like Randolph Road fresh in my mind when I was walking there, and I'm like, that's where it hit McDowell. Interesting. And to the north, I did again look at the Google Maps, aerial photograph view, and you can see a lot of where it was going in a direct line of like where I'm walking right now. Obviously, you don't, you see the strip mall with the subway in front of me and stuff, but on the other side of that, there's a lot of places, a lot of parking lots and property boundaries and driveways and stuff. You can really clear where it was. So yeah, there's the 7-Eleven takes up this corner lot. Yeah, fun times at the 7-Eleven when I came here on gosh, I'm trying to think what night that was. I think it was Saturday night. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I just witnessed a drug deal happen happen right there in front of the Red Box when I came up to try to get some drinks, and I kind of questioned what kind of a deal is going on in that right there, right now. That woman is showing a lot of leg for December. Yeah, they're getting drinks. Good for them. Anyway, so looks like that pedestrian entrance has been permanently closed. Gotta love it where it's clearly supposed to be a walkway and a pedestrian entrance, and it's been welded closed to try to keep questionable people from wandering onto the property. And there's definitely some no trespassing signs, and I suppose technically I'm trespassing right now, but I have no ill intent. I'm just trying to document where Randolph Road went. So welcome to Randolph Road video number 3, I guess it would be. Yeah, really disappointed in that last video I shot. Like, I feel like my narration was plenty interesting, but oh my gosh, the what do you call it? The NUU phone. The NUU phone shoots such bad nighttime video. I mean, not that it shoots great daytime video, but considering it's a free Obama phone, the daytime video is surprisingly good. I mean, hey, it was a free phone. What have I got to complain about, right? But man, at Randolph Road video, almost all you see is just distant lights jiggling around. But it just occurred to me that no better time than right now to get some footage of where it was while it's daytime. And I've actually got space on my iPhone to shoot better quality video. Run, little kitty, run, kitty. So here you see where there's it's interesting, like it looks like there's a little utility easement which causes this property to end not quite at McDowell, and then here you see I'm on the other side of that wall that I was at when I was inside the Pond First parking lot. And notice that even this building is sitting at a 45-degree angle because the property line is at a 45-degree angle. And the whole reason this property line is at a 45-degree angle in a city where pretty much everything is exactly aligned north, south, east, and west is because there was a country road here before the city grew and encompassed this. So I get the feeling I'm currently walking down what was Randolph Road. Oh man, I hate to see where mature trees were knocked down, and these trees probably predated this apartment complex, which kind of makes me think that Randolph Road was on the other side of that wall. Okay, and here we've got an interesting, yeah, that's the property boundary between Pond First and this apartment complex, which is a really odd angle, but again, it's that property line was determined by where the road was. And yeah, at this point I'm pretty convinced it was let's see if I can see more of it this way, that it was on the Pond First side of the wall. just because of the those giant stumps. I mean, those trees must have been super, super old. And were probably mature trees along the side of the road. A lot of those country roads, you know, would be tree lined back in the day. So I expect if I go this way, I'm probably going to see a little more wall at oddball angle. You know, I scrutinize this area in my in the aerial view of the map. Nope, everything here running exactly east and west. I did definitely notice that yeah, when I come out here, I forget what street I'm coming onto. I want to say probably 23rd Street. That this neighborhood here, which, wow, anybody want some free furniture? Yeah, not such a nice neighborhood. This neighborhood here, which you can tell by the style of the houses and the sidewalks and the curbs not being up to the current Phoenix standard, which has existed at the very least since the 1970s, if not earlier. This is a pretty old neighborhood. But yeah, I did notice here, yeah, at this point I'm at 25th Street in Willetta. Willetta being the first street south of McDowell. Yeah, that wall along Pond First, between Pond First and that apartment complex. Yeah, that's the only remaining evidence of it north of Loop 202. When this neighborhood was subdivided and zoned as residential, and it used to be like where those big kind of luxury apartments were, that used to be, again, the same type of houses that we see in the other direction. They just all kind of got bulldozed when ADOT put in the Loop 202 freeway as a redevelopment thing, and redeveloped it was. And of course, that would have happened in the late 90s, early 2000s. Yeah, when these streets were put in at perfect, you know, north-south and east-west alignments, this piece of Randolph Road was completely eliminated, to the point that there's not, like, I've looked at aerial photographs going across these blocks, and there's not even the slightest bit of evidence of anything on the alignment. But funny that there's that still little tiny piece of it that exists behind the 7-Eleven, and even some power lines that run along it. You know, and odds are that those power lines were the first, first ones to service this area. And here's something that I think borderline kind of qualifies, even though it's not at that funny angle. Look at that house compared to the ones near it. Like, that house is visibly 50 plus years older than the one next to it. That's a little farmhouse. That was a country house out in the middle of nowhere that you probably got to off Randolph Road back when it was built. Anyway, I don't know how much video I'm going to be able to shoot right now. This is probably going to cut off abruptly. When I was walking through the apartment complex, I did get the little pop-up that told me I have 10% of my battery remaining, and shooting video does tend to use up battery faster than other things I do on my iPhone. That's interesting. There's a entire residential lot that's empty. I don't see a for sale sign on it, though. There's an investor holding on to that little piece of parcel in hopes he can get more stuff adjacent and put in for a zoning variance, since it's this close to 24th Street. As much as a lot of Central Phoenix neighborhoods are getting gentrified, this area not so much. This area is still pretty rough, as you probably noticed just what I've been walking through. And this apartment complex is kind of a fun anomaly in it. I would imagine the majority of the people that rent there find that apartment complex via websites like apartments.com, and like, oh, luxury apartments, centrally located. And as you see, there's a big wall that separates those luxury apartments from the actual neighborhood that they're located in. yeah, you can see where you could take pictures of this apartment complex and make it look pretty picturesque. And for someone that's coming for a scale office job located downtown or located in downtown Tempe, this would sure seem like a perfect location. It's there's your fancy gate and your fancy office and stuff. All the the upper scale living, and you see people have way nicer cars in this parking lot, and it's real easy to pull out of the parking lot and wait for the gap in traffic, turn left, and get on that freeway and be completely oblivious to the neighborhood that you're living in if you live in that complex. So yeah, the other day I was pretty much the route that I walked. I was on the other side of the street. It's kind of hard to miss the person flying the sign. Freeway entrances. So those kind of entrances, you get it always. All right, there's my bus. That means about 20 minutes has passed since I walked away from the bus stop. I looked at the bus app. It was like 20 minutes until the next bus. So it's like, well, yeah, now's as good time as any to go to 7-Eleven, get myself some beverages, and I looked over at that wall at its ominous 45-degree angle and was like, you know what? Let's do another video about Randolph Road. So on the other video, you didn't see very clearly, but at least I explained where the other end of it is. I'm kind of tempted to walk in that direction, but and here's the bud. Oh, there's County Hospital. Which, if you remember that if you've seen the video, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. The other Randolph Road. At one point, I panned up as I was either walking down Portland or Roosevelt. I panned up so you could see where County Hospital was. So here you can see I'm to the north and slightly west of County Hospital, going southbound 24th Street. I got my jacket on. It's kind of warm today. No, I missed that southbound bus, unfortunately. But oh wow, he's actually going to stop for me. Thank you. Oh, and hey, if you don't, I got to throw in my plug for Road Guy Rob. If you've never watched Road Guy Rob, check out his channel. He should have way more subscribers than he does. His content is quality, like real quality, like produced at a level of how does this guy not have a show on PBS quality. And he even gets really good interviews with people that are in road planning. And gosh, when he did the one about Arizona freeways, or Phoenix area freeways, he actually interviewed Detour Dan, who's a local radio legend and doing traffic reporting here for, oh gosh, I want to say 30 plus years. Yeah, we almost lost Detour Dan a few years ago. He had a stroke, and he's back on the air every day on KTAR, and I think his stuff is also on the FM sports station as well, just not as frequently. It's an interesting piece of property. Shoot, I want to actually this video that I'm going to upload. Look at on these. I did kind of a wander around walk in the middle of the night because I was feeling frustrated and restless, and I kind of show an entrance of what looks like it's going to soon be luxury condos that are just north of the Loop 202 by 44th Street. And I mentioned an article talking about undeveloped large parcels of land that are centrally located, and this was one of the other parcels that was mentioned in that article. And that article was probably a decade ago, but this piece is still sitting here undeveloped, and I'm sure some big dollar developer is sitting on it, just waiting for the neighborhood around it to gentrify so they can build luxury condos that can will be worth it to try to apply for a variance for high-rise here. Because at this point, who's gonna, it'd be hard. It's a hard sell to sell luxury condos when you've got that row of really sketchy houses on the other side of the wall. Part of me wants to walk down. Actually, I am going to walk down a bit Portland because I saw something Saturday night that I really, if I wasn't so short on space, because I think at that point in time my iPhone was completely full. Yeah, I had space on the NUU phone, but I didn't feel like shooting more of that crap quality of video. But I walked by something. Oh, the reason I was mentioning Road Guy Rob, by the way, he just recently did a video about pedestrian crossings at freeways. And the way that person stopped and yielded for me at the crosswalk, that was a subject that he covered in depth. So that's why it made me think of it. All things considered, I thought that was a pretty nice pedestrian crossing for me as a pedestrian trying to get across the Loop 202. But yeah, there is that. I was waiting for him to go by. It's not so much traffic on that I can't get across. But it was really nice for him to stop for me. So this neighborhood I found when I was looking at Google Maps is called Del Rey. I've never heard of anybody calling it Del Rey, but that's what the map says. So we're going through Del Rey. Alrighty then. Another urban planning YouTuber I really like to watch, even though I harp on him all the time for just being so anti-car to the point of he's sort of a dreamer, is City Beautiful. Pretty sure he's based in Sacramento, California, and is a professor at is a liberal professor at a university out there. But that aside, he does very good quality content. His stuff's very well produced, and darn, I walked past the church and I didn't get it on video. Maybe y'all saw in the last block there was a church on the corner. Anyways, he's always talking about how older neighborhoods are better because they're walkable and have amenities that modern neighborhoods that are all zoned R1 don't allow. And he recently did a video, just another one of those R1 zoning is the devil. Actually, I think it was another channel that I watched that did a video like that. Sometimes it's funny, the city planning channels both seem to be on the same page, and I don't even think that's intentional. I think it just happens sometimes. But The Urbanity did one talking about the evils of R1 zoning. R1 being residential housing, where nothing is allowed in the neighborhood but residential housing, single-family homes, detached homes, and then, like within a couple days, I think before or after it, City Beautiful did one talking about how R1 prevents corner stores from existing in residential neighborhoods, and how residential neighborhoods that are older that have corner stores from before zoning laws prohibited it are better neighborhoods. And so why am I talking about that? As I'm walking through this Del Rey neighborhood, which is obviously freaking ghetto. I do love how the city has put in these wheelchair ramps on the corner. They're like all modern with the little tap sticks for the blind. And I guess there's a sidewalk on that side, which I would imagine that sidewalk was probably put in it'll have a date on it. Arizona Sand Rock Company, 1951. Wow. I was wondering about how I had mentioned, that the curbs in that other neighborhood were not up to the current standard, and how that standard at least went back to the 1970s. Well, here's evidence of that rounded curb standard going back to 1951, so that's interesting. And here you can see this corner piece was done in 2018, and kind of funny because I put that in, and the city spent the money to put that in, but didn't bother to put sidewalks on Portland. And nobody with a wheelchair is getting through this gravel I'm walking through. Anyway, so back to City Beautiful. You did this whole thing about corner stores, and how there needs to be a variance in R1 to allow for corner stores to exist in modern residential neighborhoods, so people will walk to the corner store as opposed to driving to the big grocery store, which is down several collector streets and then down a road a half a mile to pass to see a parking.
And lo and behold, here's an old corner store in a residential neighborhood. I'm not on a major street whatsoever. I'm on the corner of 26th Street in Portland. Yeah, this is not the kind of example he showed. As I said, a guy that runs City Beautiful kind of lives in a fantasy land, but this is a real life corner store in a really crappy neighborhood. And you can see that their lifeblood is selling 12 packs of beer, probably to people that don't have cars, and this is the only place that they can get to. They can walk down the street and get a 12 pack of beer or some Mickeys or whatever. But yeah, it's practically wallpapered with that on the outside. Huichos, I guess that's how you say it, Huichos Market. I honestly, I did not go in, so I did kind of peek in the window, and it's more than just a liquor store, but I highly doubt they've got, produce. I've never seen a corner store that has produce like this guy was suggesting. I did find this very interesting. There's a remnants of, wow, it's even got the coin. We got the coin mechanism still in a remnants of a payphone. Interesting artifact of a bygone era right there. Anyway, yeah, there's a real life corner store. I don't know, does it make this market, does it make this neighborhood a little more desirable? I suppose. I mean, I would imagine if I lived on this street, I'd probably be pretty friendly with the people that work there, and I'd probably go there for sodas and beer on a regular basis. Not so much beer, because I rarely drink at home. I prefer to drink at bars, but as you just heard a helicopter go overhead, there's a good chance that was a police helicopter. And I imagine through the night, this is a neighborhood you hear a lot of police helicopters in. So, yeah, I can't imagine having a corner store in a residential neighborhood is an amenity that to most people that outweighs the negative aspect of living in the hood. But hey, that guy's got an El Camino, and El Camino's a freaking cool. And to be honest, I would love to own a house in this neighborhood. Maybe it'll turn around and get gentrified in my neighborhood. In my lifetime, I mean. Of course, the reality is I don't have a problem living in the hood. I've lived a good portion of my life in the hood. And honestly, what attracts me to neighborhoods like this, aside from the fact that there's no HOAs to have to deal with that tell me what I can and can't do with my yard and stuff. Like, look at this guy, he's got a big old trampoline in his front yard. But look at the architecture of that house. That's awesome. I would love to own a house with that kind of actual intricate brickwork and tall chimney and high ceilings. That's not bad, it's kind of boring, but look at that one. Again, we're in a terrible neighborhood, but God, that is great architecture. And yeah, that's the dream. And I do like being centrally located. I mean, to be centrally located is better than being in a homogeneous, everybody who lives in a cookie cutter beige McMansion on a street that's way out in the middle of nowhere. Or, middle of nowhere, way out in the burbs. I do prefer to be centrally located. But I definitely prefer the thought of living in a detached single-family home versus an apartment or a townhouse or a duplex or whatever. Like the video in Oh, the Urbanity was like, oh, yeah, this is really bad because people don't really want single-family homes. No, most people I know actually do want single-family homes. They're just priced out. And at least I did get to spend most of my life growing up living in single-family homes, as a child, and have owned two in my adult life. One, I'll even give you guys the addresses if you want to look them up on Zillow. One was 3328 West Sweetwater in North Phoenix. And mind you, this was in the 1990s when that was a much better neighborhood than it is now. And the other one was at 717 East McMillan in Tucson. And that one actually has kind of gone in the other direction. When I lived there, that was hood. And from what I've seen, that area has gentrified significantly in the 18 years since I lost that house in my divorce. So, yeah, I'd be sitting in a completely different place financially had the ex-wife not sabotage that for me. Because prior to her destroying my business and booting me out of the house, and stealing all my inventory for my online record store, prior to her doing that, I was making enough money off my online sales to support that house without any income from her, and the mortgage payment and all the bills and everything. And yeah, had she not done all the stuff she'd done, I'm sure I would have just been fine without her, keeping that house, making that mortgage payment, and by now that thing would have been paid off about a decade ago, and I'd just be enjoying the appreciation and paying probably bitching about the increasing property taxes. But I think the last time I checked, that house was worth about, I think Zillow, and you got to take the Z estimate with a grain of salt, because Zillow about fisted themselves about a month ago with speculation based on their Z estimate algorithm. But the Z estimate, such as it is, I think puts that house at about, I want to say $350,000 now. Danielle and I bought it for $85,000. That would have been about, I think, 2002. No, 2001, 2002. I want to say early 2002. Before my daughter was born. Before our daughter was born, we bought that house as a fixer-upper. Anyway. Oh, yeah. In another timeline, I'm probably happily living there. But in this timeline, I don't have a vehicle and I'm walking through the hood. On that note, I should probably wrap this up. It is, before I really build a battery on this. Anyway, thanks for coming with me. Hope I kept you mildly entertained for 32 minutes. And I'll be back with more later.